That bag. Trash, just like her. The words came sharp and loud from the flight attendant in the navy blazer. Susan, according to her name tag, just as the girl stepped forward. 12-year-old Nia Templeton didn't flinch. She just stood there, silent. She had a valid boarding pass, a carefully packed canvas backpack slung over one shoulder, and a quiet confidence that seemed out of place. But Susan wasn't having it. "You people always think the rules don't apply," she sneered, snatching the boarding pass from Nia's hand before the girl could even greet her. "Let me guess, your bag's just undersized, right?" Nia nodded. "Yes, ma'am, it fits. I checked online." Susan didn't even glance at the sizer. She grabbed the backpack, hard, ripping it from Nia's shoulder. Then, without warning, she turned and shoved the backpack into a large trash bin, right there on the jet bridge. A muffled thud, a crack, and silence. Passengers gasped. Someone in the back pulled out their phone. Nia didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just looked at the trash can. Then at Susan. In that moment, something shifted. Not just in the air, but in Nia's posture. She straightened slightly. Her hand went to her pocket. Susan scoffed. "Go ahead. Call whoever you want, little girl. But that bag's not coming back." Nia said nothing. She pulled out her phone, opened one app, tapped one icon. "Tell us where you're watching from. Because this one call, it won't just end a career. It's about to freeze $680 million. And Susan, smug, towering, and fully unaware, had just thrown the wrong girl's bag into the trash. The countdown had already begun. 5 hours earlier, the house was still quiet when Nia tied the last stitch on her backpack. It wasn't fancy, just canvas, faded denim, and hand-embroidered patches she'd worked on all summer. A rising sun, a stitched quote, "Dignity doesn't need volume." It didn't match any designer brand, but it was hers. Every thread meant something. Her mom, Dr. Camille Templeton, peeked in from the hallway, coffee in hand, watching her daughter from the doorway. "Finished?" she asked. Nia looked up and nodded. "I think so. You always overpack," Camille teased gently. "Not this time." Nia smiled faintly. "Just my sketchbook, the ethics journal, your scarf, and that little stitched fox you made me when I was 7. Camille's smile tightened. Not because she was unhappy, because she knew what the world could be like for a young black girl traveling alone, even one as composed as Nia, especially one like Nia. Camille walked over and knelt beside her. "You don't have to prove anything today, okay?" Nia met her eyes. "I know, but I want to." That was always Nia, quiet strength. She never asked to be treated differently just because Camille was the Dr. Templeton, the woman who'd built Ethos Link, the very system now used by universities and federal agencies to measure organizational ethics. No, Nia wanted to earn her place, even if most people didn't know she was the adopted daughter of one of the most influential women in federal ethics law. This trip to Georgetown was supposed to be just that, a trip, a summer program for student ambassadors, a chance to blend in, be inspired, and think quietly in rooms full of loud people. She didn't expect trouble. She never did. Camille handed her a boarding pass. "I'll be in meetings most of today, but you call me if anything feels off." Nia nodded. "I won't need to." Camille didn't press, but as she watched her daughter zip up that handmade bag, she couldn't shake the feeling. Something was going to test her, and the world was about to find out. This girl may have been quiet, but she came from the house that built accountability. Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport was buzzing, like always in summer. Kids in matching shirts, business travelers glued to their phones, loud rollerboards echoing across the tile. Gate C-12 was boarding soon. Nia stood near the back of the line, hands folded over her backpack straps, her eyes tracing the movement of people more than the signs. She liked to observe. Faces, voices, the rhythm of how people moved when no one was watching. But someone was watching. The flight attendant at the gate, Susan, had noticed Nia the moment she approached. At first, it was just a glance, then a second, slower one. Not curiosity, not even suspicion. Just that look Nia had seen before, that look that meant, "Why are you here?" Susan leaned over and spoke to a white man holding a golf bag the size of a coffin. "You're fine, go ahead," she smiled, waving him through without even glancing at the bag. He nodded, breezed past the gate. Behind him, an older black couple stepped forward. The woman's purse was barely bigger than a clutch. Susan stopped them cold. "Ma'am, I need you to put that in the sizer, please." The woman blinked, confused. "It's just my purse. It needs to fit. Regulations," Susan snapped. Nia's fingers tightened around her backpack. She wasn't surprised, but it still made her chest ache. Her turn came. She stepped forward, soft "good morning" ready on her lips. Susan didn't respond, didn't even pretend to smile. Her eyes dropped straight to the backpack, and her mouth curled, just a little. It wasn't the bag, it was what the bag meant. Handmade, bright, too personal, too visible, too black. Nia stood straighter. She didn't say a word, just held out her boarding pass. Susan took it without thanks. Her eyes never left the bag. Nia knew this tone, this script. She just didn't know it would end in a trash can. Not yet. The moment Nia stepped onto the jet bridge, she thought the worst was over. Her boarding pass had been scanned. Her bag, though side-eyed and judged, was still with her. All she wanted now was to get to her seat, breathe, maybe sketch a little. But then, the voice behind her. "You know, girls like you always try to cheat the system." Susan again. Close enough that Nia felt her breath on her neck. She turned, slowly. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," Susan said, arms crossed, eyes cold. "Always trying to slip through with messy bags, special treatment, all that attitude." Nia blinked. "My bag fits. I didn't ask for anything." Susan's lip curled. "That bag's a distraction, and frankly, an eyesore." Before Nia could say a word, Susan reached forward, ripped the backpack off her shoulder. The strap scraped Nia's arm. She gasped. "Hey!" she tried, stepping forward. But Susan didn't stop. She walked 3 steps to the side, right to the oversized trash bin tucked against the wall, and shoved the backpack deep inside. The sound of it hitting the bottom was too loud for something so soft. There was a moment of dead silence, then a whisper, a gasp. Someone further back pulled out a phone. Nia just stood there. She didn't move, didn't cry. Her fingers twitched slightly. Her jaw clenched. Inside that bag was her sketchbook, her mother's scarf, a stitched fox she'd carried since she was 7. She looked at Susan. The woman wasn't even looking back. Then a voice, soft, uncertain. "Did she really just do that?" It came from a young employee further down the bridge. A badge read, "Rin." Susan snapped, "Mind your own business." Rin hesitated. Nia didn't. She stepped toward the trash can, slowly. Her hand hovered just above the rim. Then she stopped. Not because she was scared, because something in her had shifted. She wasn't going to dig through garbage for her dignity, but she was going to make a call. The air in the jet bridge hung heavy, like time had slowed, but everyone could feel something building. Nia stood frozen a moment longer, eyes on the trash can, her fists clenched at her sides. She still didn't cry, but she did something else. She stepped back, reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone. A low chime vibrated in her hand as she unlocked it. That's when Rin, the young airport employee, finally moved. She walked over, slow, cautious, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to care. "Hey," Rin said gently, eyes flicking from the trash can to Nia's face. "Are you okay?" Nia looked up. "I'm fine," she said, but her voice cracked on the last word. Rin crouched down next to the bin. That was wrong. I saw everything. Naya said nothing, but her fingers tightened around the phone. She just grabbed it from you. I mean, what was even the reason? She said it was ugly. Naya replied softly. Rin looked sick. I'm not supposed to get involved, but she pulled a small badge from her lanyard. Ethics Observer Trainee, Level 1. Naya's gaze sharpened. That badge meant something. Her mother designed the Ethos Link training tracks. This girl wasn't just ground crew. She was enrolled in the system. A watcher, a recorder. Do you have access to the ethics app? Naya asked, voice low. Rin nodded. The internal one, yeah, for training submissions. Naya turned her phone to show an app icon. Ethos Link. Authority override access. Gold shield. Verified ID. 1 button. Rin blinked. Wait, how do you... Naya didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, "Can you confirm what you saw?" Rin nodded, firmer this time. Yes, all of it. From behind them, Susan barked, "Is there a problem here?" Rin turned halfway, eyes steady. "There's about to be." Naya inhaled deeply. Not rage, not fear, just focus. She tapped the screen once, then again. E-override request sent. Case ID 005171B. Ethics lock initiated. Susan stepped closer, heels clicking sharply against the jet bridge floor. "I asked a question," she snapped. "What's going on over here?" Rin stood up straight, her badge still visible on her lanyard. "We're just documenting an incident, ma'am," Susan scoffed. "Incident? That girl caused the problem. Coming in here with a circus bag and an attitude." Naya didn't speak, but Rin did. She wasn't the problem. You threw her bag in the trash. Susan's face twitched, just for a second. Then she laughed, a short, humorless sound. "That little thing? Please." It looked like it belonged there. She glanced at Nia. "Kids like her always want to be seen. Loud clothes, loud stories, loud demands. And when someone says no, suddenly it's a federal case." The air around them shifted. A few passengers, still boarding, had stopped mid-step. A mother holding her toddler paused and stared. A man in a business suit shook his head quietly. People were listening now, really listening. Nia's hands were steady, but inside, her chest burned. She knew that tone, that tight, measured cruelty. Not loud, but sharp enough to cut. Susan kept going. "I've been flying for 15 years. You think I'm afraid of some ethics intern and a kid with a phone?" She looked at Nia with pure contempt. "Sweetheart, you don't scare me. You don't even belong in this gate." Click. The E-override request had just triggered a second-level confirmation. Across the system, Ethos Link's internal review engine began compiling incident data, including location, timestamp, video fragments submitted anonymously, and passenger profiles. Susan didn't know. Not yet. Rin leaned slightly toward Nia. "You sent it?" Naya gave a single nod. "I've never seen that interface before," Rin whispered. "You're not just a passenger, are you?" Naya didn't answer. She didn't need to. Behind her, the weight of the system was already moving. The alert went out within 90 seconds of Nia's tap. Not a siren, not a flash. Just a quiet digital signal sent from her phone, authenticated by E-override Tier 1. Inside the control center of Ethos Link, located over 1,000 miles away in DC, a soft chime echoed. A case ID blinked onto the screen. 005171B. Passenger dignity violation. Minor involved. Gate C12. Ascend air. The system paused. Then it moved. At Georgetown University, an automated compliance trigger activated. A contract tag read, "Ethics Standard. Active flight partner must maintain verified compliance status under Ethos Link." Ascend Air's score dropped from green to flagged, under ethics review. The reaction was immediate. Georgetown suspended its $120 million student travel contract. Then, NYU pulled $98 million, followed by Stanford, Howard, UCLA, and Emory. In total, $680 million in educational travel agreements frozen within 4 minutes. Nobody yelled, nobody tweeted. The system just did its job. Back at Gate C12, Susan was still talking, to herself now mostly, muttering something about kids these days and entitled little brats. Rin checked her phone. Her eyes widened. Oh my God! Nia glanced over. Rin turned the screen toward her. Internal EthosNet Bulletin. Ascend flagged for active investigation. All linked academic contracts suspended pending outcome. Passengers around them were getting messages too. One woman gasped softly. A man with a laptop shook his head. That's fast. Susan looked around, sensing a shift, but not yet understanding it. What's everyone staring at? She demanded. Rin's voice was calm. You'll find out soon. Nia didn't move. She didn't smile, but her fingers curled loosely at her side. Quiet justice was already in motion. Susan paced, arms folded tight, eyes flicking between passengers like she could somehow force normal back into the moment. Her voice was sharper now, shorter. This flight is boarding. If you're not on the list, step aside. No one moved. Too many eyes were on Nia, and more importantly, on Rin, who was now quietly on the phone near the wall, speaking in low, clipped tones. Susan snapped. Put that away. Who gave you permission to be on a personal call during boarding? Rin didn't even blink. It's not personal. I'm reporting an ethics breach, level 1. Susan's face froze. Excuse me? You're excused, Rin said simply. But you're not dismissed. That's when Susan noticed the shift. Passengers weren't just watching anymore. They were recording. Subtle phone angles, slow swipes. People murmured, whispers traveling faster than the intercom could catch. Then, a new sound broke through. A sharp, steady series of steps echoed down the jet bridge. Not rushed, not angry. Measured. A woman in a dark blazer and black flats approached the gate, her ID badge already raised. Port Authority, you'll need to pause boarding immediately. Susan's mouth opened. Why? The woman showed her tablet screen. It displayed the case number, 005171B, passenger dignity violation. Active Ethos link override. Are you Susan Miller? She asked. Susan nodded slowly. You are now under provisional review. You are not to board this aircraft. Please step aside. Susan's voice cracked. Wait, what? I didn't do anything criminal. The woman's voice was calm. That determination isn't up to you. We've received multiple witness statements, 2 internal reports, and preliminary confirmation from a Tier 1 override. Her mother, Dr. Camille Templeton, hadn't called either. But Nia knew what that meant. No need for words. The protocol worked. The lines held. At the heart of it all, Nia hadn't made the system move with a scream. She did it by following the rules her mother helped design, by showing the world what it looked like when power met grace. At Ascendair's headquarters, the Board of Ethics convened an emergency meeting. An anonymous source leaked part of the agenda. Systemic review of crew behavior across all East Coast routes. Immediate retraining. Pending contract renegotiation with Ethos Link. Susan Miller's photo had been quietly removed from the internal newsletter by noon the next day. She no longer existed in their marketing universe. But Nia? She was never in it to begin with. And yet now, her presence was everywhere. Not loud, not flashy, but permanent. Sunday afternoon in Atlanta felt warmer than usual, not because of the sun, but because of the people. Nia stood quietly near the edge of the community park, hands tucked in the pockets of her hoodie. She hadn't told anyone she was coming to the gathering. She didn't need to. It wasn't for her, but somehow, it still was. The flyer had gone out 2 days prior. Uplift and Honor, a community response to silent strength. Organized by students. Sponsored by 3 local schools, backed by 2 national education foundations. What started as a small idea turned into over 400 attendees, parents, teachers, students, even retired flight attendants. There were no banners, no microphones blaring, just a simple platform, folding chairs, and a table full of thank you cards addressed to the girl in Gate C12. Rin spotted Nia first and waved her over. "You're not going to believe what's in those envelopes." "I don't think I need to," Nia said softly. Rin smiled. "That's very you." They stood together as Principal Holloway stepped up to speak. "I've been in education for 33 years, he began. "And I've taught kids how to raise their voices. But last week, a student reminded me that sometimes silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the most powerful protest of all." He looked directly at Nia, eyes kind but steady. "You didn't shout, you didn't curse, you didn't even correct her, but you moved an entire system. You reminded us all what dignity looks like when it stands its ground." People clapped, not loud, but long, a slow, standing ovation. Rin nudged her. "Go on." Nia hesitated, but then she stepped forward, walked up to the table, and placed something among the thank you notes. A folded page from her sketchbook. On it, a single drawing. A girl holding her bag, her feet planted, her eyes calm. No title, no caption. The crowd got it anyway. That night, at home, Dr. Camille Templeton sat beside her daughter on the couch. Neither said much. Eventually, Nia whispered, "I didn't want you to have to step in." Camille turned toward her. "You didn't need me to." They sat in silence again, a peaceful one this time. Finally, Camille said, "You know what the hardest thing in my work has been?" "What?" "Designing a system that treats children with dignity, and trusting it'll work when I'm not there." She looked at Nia, eyes glassy. "And it did, because of you." Nia leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. Outside, the city kept moving, but in that room, a quiet victory settled in, unshaken, unseen by most, but deeply felt by those who mattered. 1 week later, the story was still spreading, not louder, just deeper. News cycles had moved on to other headlines, but behind closed doors, in boardrooms and federal committees, the Nia Templeton incident had become case study number 1. At the FAA headquarters in D.C., a special task force met under direct congressional oversight. The lead officer opened with a slide that read, "Passenger Dignity Index, Emergency Reform Proposal." The first bullet point? Trigger system overhaul prompted by Tier 1 activation from minor passenger. Incident verified within 90 seconds. System functioned. Human error did not. They didn't name Susan Miller. They didn't have to. Her name was now permanently logged in the Federal Flight Ethics Misconduct Registry, updated just 3 days prior. Her certification was revoked for 5 years, pending mandatory retraining and psychological clearance. Ascend Air quietly suspended 5 more crew members. Then it issued a press release. "We deeply regret the failure in our standards and are actively cooperating with the FAA to implement the new Passenger Ethics Accord, a protocol designed in collaboration with Dr. Camille Templeton's team and set to be mandatory by Q3 next year." The irony? The very system Susan once disregarded was now being used to rebuild the company she embarrassed. Back in Atlanta, Nia walked past her school's main hallway. A new mural had gone up, not of her, but of a single backpack, colorful, steady, untouched. Below it, in gold letters, "You don't have to yell to be heard." Her classmates didn't treat her like a celebrity. They just treated her right. And that's what mattered. At lunch, a girl from 7th grade approached her table. "You're Nia Templeton, right?" Nia looked up. "Yeah." The girl nodded, then pulled out a small notebook. "I drew this. You don't have to look at it now. I just wanted you to have it." She handed it over and rushed off. Rin, across from her, raised an eyebrow. "This is going to keep happening, you know." "I don't mind." Naya said, flipping the page open. Inside was a sketch of a girl, smaller, round glasses, holding a backpack with a big heart drawn on it. Below it, "I stood up for myself today because you showed me how." Rin didn't say anything for a while. Then, quietly, "You did more than just stand up, Nia. You changed how the system looks at us." Naya shook her head. "I didn't change it. My mom built it. I just trusted it." Rin smiled. That's the part they didn't expect. Weeks passed. Ascend Air rebranded its training materials. FAA launched the Sky Dignity Protocol, mandating that all commercial airlines use real-time behavior monitors tied to Ethos Link compliance scores. Any score below 87 would trigger automatic review, immediate notification to funding institutions, and a 72-hour freeze on non-essential flights. Camille Templeton was invited to testify before Congress, not to defend the system, but to explain why it worked when it mattered most. She spoke for exactly 9 minutes and ended with this: "My daughter didn't need to speak up to prove her worth. The point of ethical infrastructure is not to amplify the loud. It's to protect the quiet." And for once, the chamber applauded something that wasn't political. It was personal. The final ripple came quietly. A letter, no return address. It arrived at Camille's office and was sealed with FAA letterhead, but unsigned. Inside, a typed note. "We used to say ethics were reactive. Your daughter showed us otherwise. She was right to be silent. And the system was finally loud for the right reasons." Camille tucked the letter into a folder, closed her laptop, and looked out the window. Downstairs, Naya was waiting for her. They didn't have plans. They didn't need any, because the work was done. The point was made, and the world, finally, had listened. Do you think Nia should forgive Susan, or let the system handle it? Have you ever seen someone stay silent and still change everything? Tell us where you're watching from, and if you've ever witnessed quiet strength like Nia's, share it in the comments. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's power with purpose. We're listening. Are you? If you believe this is a mistake, you'll have the opportunity to explain later. From behind, Rin walked over and whispered something to the woman. The agent nodded. Then she turned to Nia. "You're Miss Templeton?" Susan's head snapped around. "What?" Naya nodded, just once. "Yes. Dr. Camille Templeton's daughter?" Another nod, still silent. Susan's face lost every drop of color. That name, Templeton, carried weight. Not just because of Ethos Link, but because Camille Templeton was the one who designed the very system Susan had just triggered with her own behavior. She hadn't just humiliated a child. She'd challenged the daughter of the woman who built the rules. The officer nodded respectfully. "We've already coordinated with Dr. Templeton's office. You'll be escorted on board shortly. Your seat has been reassigned." Susan stepped forward, shaky. I didn't know who she was." "That's the problem," Rin said, quiet but firm. "You didn't care who she was." And for the first time since the flight began boarding, Susan had nothing to say. Nia adjusted the strap of her empty shoulder. The backpack was still in the trash. But she wasn't. The officer turned to the gate intercom and tapped twice on her tablet. The speakers buzzed, then clicked. "Attention passengers of Ascend Air Flight 4272. Please remain where you are. Boarding is temporarily suspended pending an internal compliance review." The buzz in the terminal shifted instantly. Conversations cut short. Phones raised. Eyes locked on the woman in uniform, then on Susan. Naya stood just behind Rin, silent, composed, watching. Susan, on the other hand, looked like a balloon slowly losing air. "This is ridiculous," she mumbled. "You're making a scene over some kid in a bag." The officer didn't respond. She stepped aside to let another agent through, this one holding a small transparent bin. Gloves on, clearly marked evidence handling. Inside, Naya's colorful backpack. Rin's jaw tightened. The agent turned to the crowd, voice steady but audible. This item was recovered from the trash receptacle at gate C12, thrown away by an acting crew member without passenger consent. She held up a scanned report, confirmed by 2 witnesses, 1 airport camera angle, and a live trainee observation. Gasps rippled across the boarding area. A middle-aged woman near the back murmured, "She threw away a kid's bag?" Someone else added, "And the girl just stood there, never raised her voice once." The officer continued, "Effective immediately, Susan Miller is suspended pending full federal compliance review. Her flight access is revoked." Susan finally broke. "You're ruining my career over this?" Naya didn't speak, but Rin stepped forward. "No, you ruined it. All she did was stand still while you tried to erase her." The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of eyes, of judgment, of clarity. Susan tried to speak, then stopped. Her mouth opened, then closed again. She looked small, shrinking by the second. A uniformed staff member arrived with a clipboard. "Ms. Miller, you'll need to sign here. You'll be escorted to the staff exit." She didn't move, so the agent placed the clipboard down gently and repeated, "Now." Susan finally nodded, shaking. As she walked past Nia, their eyes met. For a brief moment, she looked for something in the girl's face. Anger, pity, even triumph. But there was nothing. Just calm, just dignity. By the time Flight 4272 finally took off, without Susan Miller on board, the damage was already done. But not to Nia, not anymore. Across the country, inboxes lit up with Ethos Link bulletins, all carrying the same red banner. Passenger dignity violation. Minor involved. Emergency tier I escalation. Inside university offices, procurement teams scrambled. Georgetown confirmed its suspension of contract with Ascend Air. NYU followed. Then Columbia. Then MIT. Within 48 hours, $680 million in educational travel agreements were either frozen or redirected to competitors with verified compliance scores. The FAA, already under pressure from civil rights groups, released a statement. This incident highlights the need for a nationwide review of ethical compliance procedures involving underage passengers. Effective immediately, we will be auditing all Tier 1 flagged cases within the last 12 months. News outlets didn't take long to catch up. CNN led with, "Flight attendant throws black teen's bag away. One silent tap exposes $680 ethics storm." NBC called it, "The girl who didn't flinch." On Twitter, the video of Susan being escorted out had been watched over 9.2 million times in 36 hours. The top comment read, "She never raised her voice. The system did it for her." Back in Atlanta, Nia sat by her window, phone silent. Rin had texted once, "Ethos Link just pinged me. I've never seen that many internal confirmations fire at once." Naya didn't respond right away. Not because she didn't want to, but because the storm was no longer hers to carry.